He got on a ship and had no idea where it was going. For 30 days, he saw no land and ended up in the South Pacific with orders to build and run a photo lab on the island of Bougainville. I'm Wendy Bale. This is Monday Movie number 97. His gnarled hands told the story of a long life, always building things, creating sets for the portrait studio, and more recently, swinging a golf club. Retirement was a happy time for Marvin Burk. On this particular day, the Midwestern farm boy, now living near Tampa, Florida, flat as Iowa, but with kumquats and palm trees, sat with a cardboard box full of photo negatives on his lap. Holding each negative to the sunny window by a napping Siamese cat, I peppered him with questions about these old pictures. Some stories were familiar, often repeated so much I knew them word for word, but many were untold, and as I jotted notes furiously, I wanted to record his story. By the time I came around, Marvin Burk was a well-known figure in Spencer, Iowa, where he was a professional photographer. He was the one to take your baby photos, your graduation portrait, and then hand-make an album for your wedding pictures. But this is the story about how his photo career came about. Early images he took as a teenager in the 1930s of the family, cars, and rural life in Brooklyn, Iowa, show his fascination for the medium. Then World War II broke out, and he enlisted in the Marine Corps and went to boot camp in San Diego. He was sent to photo school in Pensacola, Florida. While visiting Polaroid Corporation in Cambridge, Mass., he learned how to make vector photographs, an early form of 3D photography. He also met a pretty girl from New England and convinced her after 5 days to take a bus cross-country to California and marry him. Back in California, he ran the photo lab from May of '43 to May of '44. Then this fellow came to the door and said, "We're sorry, you're shipping out," and ended up in the South Pacific with orders to build and run a photo lab on the island of Bougainville. Many of his photos of the time feature the airplanes, a lifelong passion. This one taken from the open door of a DC-3. Getting the lab built with little cooperation from the powers that be meant he had to finagle things he needed. When he realized the lab needed water pressure for the print washer, he calculated he needed a 30-foot tower. His request to the Bull Gang shop produced a chainsaw and a dump truck. His buddy, Red Bean, found a 100-foot banyan tree about a foot in diameter, which they cut down and drug out of the jungle. Marvin scrounged the 1,200-gallon tanks, which they filled twice a day when busy, and conned the construction battalion to plumb the place for a bottle of whiskey. Here he is with Red Bean in front of the photo lab, with a garden of coleus he planted to remind him of his mother's flowers back in Iowa. Today would have been his 100th birthday, a day he planned to celebrate. His photo career spanned 80 years, from black and white to the digital photography age. Using his own pet expression, he was a hell of a photographer. And he was my dad. I'm Wendy Bale, a visual artist in Western New York. You can find my work on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and at wendybaleartfirst.com.